regular husband and wife.
But Vision could immediately disguise himself as a regular husband as easy as he could try to hide under his hat, right? And then he continues the indecent exposure by walking around unprotected outside in complete view. Also, yes, I understand that there's surely some element of magic slash wackiness slash dream world slash spoilers going on here, so anything could not be what it seems. But you know what is as it seems? Me giving sins whenever the hell I want to. Dropping your wife. Taking Dick Van Dyke's name in vain. Or really taking the name Dick Van Dyke at all. Also, how is Wanda's dress able to pass through the chair as well? That's not part of Vision's body. Also, this chair has no business being in the middle of the room like this. Later we see it doesn't live there, so who dragged this chair out here in the first place? Taking time to dance while the door is still wide open. Do you want the neighbors to see you? In the 50s, this is basically the equivalent to having sex in your driveway. I see someone went to the Mary Poppins School of Cleaning Things, but if you can control reality, why are you even floating things around or messing with towels and such? Why mess with telekinesis when you can just change actual reality? Also, this is a neat trick and all, but you also need to dry out the inside of the glass, which you do not appear to be doing, and that will be a glass of bacteria before long. Do you want herpes, Wanda? Because this is how you get ants. I mean, herpes. Also, considering they make such a big deal about her hiding her powers from everyone else, maybe don't do this in front of an open window where any passing neighbor could see. Even if you're making fun of laugh tracks, it's still a laugh track, which means it's still a sin. Oh, thank you.
I say, oh, I don't eat food.
Well, that explains the empty refrigerator.
But Wanda eats, so that refrigerator should have a few things in it, right?
Well, then tell me what's so important about today's date.
Can we have a sitcom plot involves a main character forgetting an important date cliche in a satire slash parody? Making fun of the sitcom plot involves the main character forgetting an important date cliche? And if we do, doesn't that just make us a YouTube channel that pokes fun at TV shows making a cliche out of a cliche? And if so, what even am I? Do I exist? Am I a cliche? Why is my narration?
Hello, dear. I'm Agnes, your neighbor to the right. My right, not yours.
People that say my right, not yours, instead of just saying to the left.
Golly, you settled in fast. Did you use a moving company?
Agnes just apologized for not visiting sooner, which means it's been at least a few days since Wanda moved in. So what is Agnes shocked about? The living room consists of a few pieces of furniture, a coat rack by the front door, and some nicks and a few knacks.
No, it's not a holiday.
An anniversary then?
Yes, it's our anniversary.
Oh.
Elizabeth Olsen is so good at balancing the old sitcom tone in this that I have to give her a sin off for it. In fact, there's so much that's amazing about this recreation, from the sets to the camera style to the laugh tracks, that I should probably go ahead and give several sins off. But honestly, you made me think of laugh tracks as a positive thing, so just be happy with the one removal show.
The only way Ralph would remember our anniversary is if there was a beer named June 2nd.
But how would that help him remember? He might remember the beer was named June 2nd, but that wouldn't guarantee the significance would dawn on him. And if you're remembering important things like anniversaries while consuming alcohol, you're not beering right.
And let me tell you, what Ralph could really use is how to goose your wife so you don't lose your wife.
Pretending goose rhymes with lose.
Hey, the music isn't bothering you, is it, pal?
In terms of distraction from work or the largely nonsensical nature of the lyrics?
Nonsensical? What's so nonsensical about take out the papers or the trash or you don't get no spending cash? Yakety Yak is a pretty straightforward song about parents ordering around their kids. It's not like someone's asking who put the bomp in the bomp, but also who did put the bomp in the bomp. And which bomp of the three bomps are they even responsible for? Also, I think I just send music. Somebody should make a YouTube channel that does that. Also, playing music of any kind at your desk in a shared office.
What is it we're producing?
Computational forms.
Then when Vision asked Norm what they did there, why didn't he reply with this? Norm even said they didn't make anything, but clearly they're making computational forms.
No skeletons in your closet, eh, Vision?
If he goes through the trouble of creating a false identity, why wouldn't he just give himself a more normal name? Like Carl.
Well, you know, darling, I still get a little tongue-tied.
Fizz, after all this time.
Couple thinks they're talking about two different things, but the conversation still somehow works to maintain the miscommunication cliche. And yes, that's likely the point, but consider it a sin for the cliche even existing in the first place.
Is your husband tired of you burning his toast?
Commercials. Seriously, someone should make a YouTube channel that sends those. Also, this lobster looks like a and with this chicken hanging above it, it's clear that this room goes by the 1950s 2 and a clock standard of interior design. Also, parody of a commercial within the parody of a sitcom. And I'm sure when this is all said and done, we'll be wowed by the ingenious nature of the whole thing. But right now, my brain is over-parodied. And an over-parodied brain leads to horrible things, like watching 2.5 Men marathons. Struggles are real, people. Oh, and now you're using color in a black and white world as an indicator that something is different. I think someone saw Pleasantville too many times. And if I remember my Pleasantville incorrectly, this means the toaster has recently masturbated.
How very atmospheric.
And fire hazardy.
Guess who?
Look, mistakes happen. I once patted the butt of a woman because she looked like my wife from behind, but there are so many context clues that this isn't Vision that this makes absolutely no sense, including, oh, I don't know, the other human woman in the room?
We don't break bread with Bolsheviks.
That's Bolshevist. And Marxist. And communist.
That man through there is my boss, Mr. Hart.
And since you're keeping your voice at top volume, he can hear all of this explanation. And I'm sure everything will be resolved and there will be no more hijinks to maneuver.
The Hart on the calendar was an abbreviation.
You move at the speed of sound and I can make a pen float through the air. Who needs to abbreviate?
Wanda would be excellent at TVSins.
The candles, the music, that stunning outfit.
I understand Vision is some sort of fleshy android AI thing, and there's probably some way he could simulate sexual desires, but it doesn't make me any less weirded out by it. Although, it's still less odd than the sweater he wore in Captain America Civil War.
I might have a better idea.
Oh, sure. When you need to change out of your clothes, you make it happen with a snap. But when you need to cook dinner, you'll go back to pretending you have to do things telekinetically. Just asking for some consistency here.
Take out the papers and the trash.
Even if Mrs. Hart turned around in time before seeing any of Wanda's powers, Mr. Hart would still be able to see the display from his position in the living room.
Well, why don't we have a nice sing-along all together then, shall we?
Convenient ukulele is convenient.
Oh no, too much. Oh no, not enough!
Is the opposite of an overcooked chicken a couple dozen eggs? Even if it's not an undercooked chicken, shouldn't it just be one egg?
Wouldn't you know it, good news is more expensive.
24-hour cable news networks. It might be breakfast for dinner, but drinking wine with any kind of breakfast serving is gross, and also a sin.
Where did you two move from? What brought you here? How long have you been married? And why don't you have children yet?
Nosy neighbors. I will now be Googling the name Babs Digby for the next hour or so, trying to figure out if it's a clue as to where this show is headed. So, am I sending a show for inspiring me to do some research? Yeah, I am. Plot tease cliffhangers. Tease hangers? Having a personal radio speaker facing away from you. Phew, missed that one the last time, so thank goodness for the previously on segment. Spoiler logos, or splogos, if you will. As in, yes, Marvel continues to use a full 35 seconds each episode to participate in a masturbatory cacophony of visual splogoing. Separate beds without a shared nightstand between them? It's almost like the show needs this space empty for a bed combining joke later.
Are you using your powers to turn on the light?
Better question, why haven't we blocked the light streaming into the window that's forced me to wear an eye pillow?
Wanda, darling,
Yes, dear.
get the light.
Pulling the blankets all the way over your head to have sex. Since when do you need more than one person at a time under there? See, the problem with this is that it probably means something else. This isn't a simple star and moon moment. This is a hint to a deeper lore that only the bravest of Marvel nerds will know. I want to know too. But I don't want to Google every damn thing like this, or this, or this, or this. I continue to be bewitched by how perfectly these episodes imitate the opening titles of the era it's set in. But I can't just be taking sins off willy-nilly, so, scene does not contain an Elizabeth Montgomery nose wiggle? Letting the water run after you're out of the shower.
Fred and Linda are building a moat in a fully functioning portcullis and no one even knows why.
But then the show never lets us see Fred and Linda's moat and portcullis. Oh, was that a metaphor?
Ta-ta!
Ruining the mystery of magic. The way these first episodes layer in the mystery while creating such a perfect recreation of the sitcoms of the past is not only quite a balancing act to pull off, it's honestly a pretty bold and strange choice. Props to Marvel for not taking the weird out of comic book storytelling. Take your sin back, you.
Senor Scratchy just loves the stage. He played Baby Jesus in last year's Christmas pageant.
Isn't having a rabbit play Jesus just a hair sacrilegious? Also, naming your rabbit Senor Scratchy.
Dottie is the key to everything in this town.
Noted. And so help me if this doesn't turn out to be true and I'm obsessing over far too many details, I will never take this sin back.
Just mind your P's and Q's and you're going to do just fine.
I was today years old when I realized P's and Q's stands for pleases and thank yous. And this is a sin for an educational system that failed me. Leaving your baseball bat outside. How are you going to defend yourself from a burglar now?
I'm sorry, Dottie. I didn't ask about the chairs.
So you better not ask me if you can chair any committees in the future.
Overselling your puns. I love seat-based puns too, but you gotta couch that stuff in subtly to cushion the blow. Anything else is just lazy, boy.
The devil's in the details, Bev.
Like the tea glass that was clearly on the table behind Bev, but when she walks away from the table, it's missing?
Pardon me, is this a neighborhood watch meeting?
If it is, and it is, it shouldn't be. A meeting where nearly 10 people are discussing town events should not be happening in the middle of a library where silence is expected. Move that meeting to a private room.
No, Vision. New business actually means another round of Danish.
It does not. in any context, mean this.
Care for a stick of Big Red?
Oh, well, hold on there a second. Didn't you hear the man? He doesn't eat food.
But then he clarified, and then the laugh track laughed, and this is a dumb thing to say.
Well, my understanding is that it's purely for mastication.
Oh, no, I don't do that.
Confusing mastication with masturbation, which honestly leads to very uncomfortable sexual experiences, so I've heard. This gum looks way too happy to have been chewed up and swallowed. Why are you so happy, Big Red? Why?
Wanda.
Okay, I'm digging the mystery, I really am, but when do we start getting some answers? Oh, I know, I'll just binge the rest of the season now so I can get some relief. Let's see, where is this on Disney Plus? Where's it? Wait, is this not? No! Also, no. Wait.
How does a housewife get a bloodstain out of white linen? By doing it herself.
Forgetting the same way she climaxes part of the joke. Stretch watch bands mixed with arm hair. Ouch! Oh, like Strucker from the comics. And it says Hydra. And it's set to 242. And the shape of the 4 looks like a knife. And it says 1,000 meters. And I for sure know what all of this means, but I totally don't want to spoil it for you guys.
Strucker.
But also, doesn't the umlaut change the U to more of a U sound? So shouldn't this be like Strucker or something? My point is you can't add fancy dots to a U and not change the pronunciation.
Whoa.
Vision's intestinal issues are far worse than expected. His gears have swapped sides from earlier.
And for our final act, I give you Wanda and Vision.
Roll commercials. Whoa, that's never happened before. I didn't even know I had those powers. Yeah, anyway, they said the title of the show, so do the thing.
I was just playing with his shoes.
Paul Bettany is absolutely slaying this.
Illusion.
Yeah.
Master of Enigma. Allow me.
This piano is clearly still three-dimensional after she does her finger wiggle, even though later we see it's not.
Is this your card? Is this your card? Is this your card?
This is This Your Card's on for some time.
I'm doing it. Oh!
Is that how mirrors work?
Sharita from Donnie Darko would be excellent at TVSins.
What's in the box? What's in the box?
What's in the box?
I swear to the TV gods, if they open that box and Pepper Potts comes out, I'm giving back every sin gladly.
What is going on with you?
I have no idea. I've been feeling weirdy all day.
Except he knows exactly what happened. He wasn't asleep when he swallowed the gum. He searched his mouth for it immediately.
It wasn't so hard to fit in after all.
Title of my sex tape?
No.
Hijacking the remote. Spending 37 seconds on a recap of 2 episodes that hit barely an hour between them. We don't have to be spoon-fed our television, especially when it would take about 2 seconds to research anything we have a question on. You would think at this point they would know how to spell DC correctly. I mean, it's 2 letters. This guy has terrible hand-to-cone placement. A bite or 2 of that ice cream is going to have this dude's finger sweat all over it.
Together, 1 + 1 is more than 2.
It is not. Also, we should absolutely sin anytime someone hastily assembles a swing set. Sure, Vision is incredibly fast and powerful, but look, if you rush these things, then kids get hurt. Being this excited about spending your day with your bros, basking in books. Casually reading cervix-related material when you should be watching where you're walking.
We let the little ladies keep tabs on their growing babies with fruit. Makes it simple for them.
I'm gonna let Danae take this one.
You, Dr. Dude.
At 5 months, a papaya, 6 grapefruit, 7 pineapple, 8 honeydew.
And before I go, get the fuck out of here with that excitement about anything the size of anything taking up space in the body and eventually popping out, especially when it's the size of a honey-dew melon. Shove that in your dickhole.
Listen, you will keep news of Wanda's just between us.
If they're keeping this a secret, then what was up with all the flaunting in the opening credits? In fact, how would those opening credits events even occur, considering she's pregnant for less than a day before the babies are delivered?
Hey, Hub!
Slicing through concrete with an electric hedge trimmer.
You've gotten bigger.
Even in a heightened, crazy scenario such as this, I feel like it's still inappropriate to ask a woman this question.
I can't wait to be a proud papaya.
Dad jokes. Vision insinuated when the doctor was there, they just found out Wanda was pregnant 12 hours prior. So when did they go buy all the baby furniture? Having a pregnant woman around paint fumes, no matter how wonderful the family-owned company might be. Also, not sure why, but this paint really makes me think about how much I prefer Last Crusade over Raiders.
Well, I guess there's only one solution to this debate.
Hope for a girl.
Thinking that having a girl will solve parental debates. If you're keeping the doll clothes on while practicing diaper changing skills, why take off the shoes at all?
Phil, do these earrings make me look fat?
Oh, thank God.
Asking if earrings make you look fat.
I think something's wrong here, Wanda.
I think something is wrong here, cliche.
This?
Yes, dear?
I think my water just broke.
Metaphorical amniotic showers.
Do you need a break?
I mean, I feel like you also need to house train that dog, but you do you. I rolled my eyes when I saw this 4 ounces on the luxury bath powder box because ounces is most often abbreviated as OZ and doesn't need the S on the end. But then my dumbass looked up 4OZS and that led me to this page of scientific mumbo jumbo. Check it out. 4OZS has synthetic construct listed here, and so help me, I can't help but wonder if this is purposeful. This show, man. This show.
It's 75 degrees out. You making a fashion statement?
Says the woman wearing long sleeves and a very fashionable vest.
I gotta borrow a bucket. Not to wear, to use. Somehow, all the pipes in my ceiling burst at once.
Pretty sure that requires a lot more assistance than a single bucket could provide.
Wanda, thank you.
As if Geraldine wasn't acting fishy enough with her fishy pants, they go ahead and give her an apple to be sure we know she's an asshole. Here's the thing. Maybe Geraldine does see the stork, and it's going to be revealed later why she's not bringing attention to it. But all I have to go on is the present, and I'm sending the out of Geraldine's peripheral vision because it is non-existent. If she's already seen the nursery, is there really a reason to still be covering the baby bump?
Bermuda awaits, and my car decides to poop out right at this moment.
But you can't drive to Bermuda, and you could get a cab to the airport or cruise ship, so not sure why this is a huge issue.
But Stan, what about my brand new two-piece?
Maybe before you get comfortable sitting in the car waiting for Stan to fix it, you can hop to it and finish the packing job? So this is all that happens when she actually gives birth? When she had a contraction, she caused all the power to go out in the neighborhood. And when she broke her water, everyone's house flooded. But when she gives birth, a vacuum turns on and the fireplace lights up for a second, and I'm certain there should be lava erupting and flowing in the streets.
Hey, Doc, why don't you help me out in the kitchen there?
Or, you know, stitch up some vaginal tearing and check to be sure the placenta comes out without issue. Oh, we're going to continue to gloss over the very real parts of birth.
Ooh, you're strong.
And really clean. Have you seen a baby right after it's born? There's more bodily fluids on newborn babies than on even the most active participants at most exorcism orgies.
Allow me to walk you out, Doctor.
You said knock you out oddly, and considering this doctor represents some triggering chauvinistic behavior, I think you should speak very clearly.
Well, I'll go back to Wanda.
I know there's a strange vibe in the air, but cheese and crackers, you just saw your wife give birth to twin boys a day after showing signs of pregnancy. Let's have some priorities, Vision. Geraldine survives this. This slow motion undusting scene is so very cool, but again brings up so many questions. And since the Sins channels have already had a few swings at this, let's just focus instead on the story of 44-year-old Ronald J. Tesh of Republic, Missouri. On the day of the snap, Ronald was walking his farm with his wife when he disintegrated right in front of her eyes. A year later, the still grieving widow had to sell the land to Amazon for a distribution center and take a job there as a line supervisor. 4 years after that, on the day of the reverse snap, she was doing her daily checks just as her late husband reappeared, standing in the midst of the mechanical jungle. His confused look didn't last long as his upper torso was split by the assembly belt now occupying that space, and his wife watched his now bisected, lifeless corpse slowly proceed through the now gruesome assembly line. So, great job, Avengers! This subtitle implies that Monica Rambeau is, in fact, Maria Rambeau's daughter, who is a character from Captain Marvel. But it's hard to make out what the off-screen voice is saying, and if you don't have the subtitles on, you're more likely to miss that Captain Marvel is the one that's talking. If the reveal is supposed to be a surprise down the road, then a sin for secret spoiling subtitles. And if this is supposed to be pertinent information, then a sin for needing the subtitles on. Yes, I know I'm complicated. Not watching where you're blipping.
Oh, Dr. Harlan, thank God. I can't believe it. I was... Where did you go?
One of the brilliant things about the connectedness of the MCU is the ripples of reveals like this. Now that we know Monica got dusted, when you watch Endgame, the Captain Marvel stuff becomes even more personal. It's honestly an incredible tool in their belt. And props to Marvel for understanding the power of complex canon building. Wait, what? This is a Marvel property I'm watching? It's bad enough I have to remember what SHIELD means, which, for the record, I do not. Now you're throwing sword at me? Too many acronyms, Marvel. I'm over-acronymed. Also, Sentient Weapon Observation Response Division may be the dumbest acronym ever. A full division dedicated to the response to observing sentient weapons. How many sentient weapons are we dealing with here? Also, if I'm understanding the people who would prefer I pronounce GIF, then this should actually be pronounced SWARD, since the O stands for observation. Good to know. I'll make sure I do that from here on out.
I work here.
If you did, your badge would work, wouldn't it?
I know there are Apple eaters out there working reception desks, but considering billions of people just reappeared on the Earth a couple weeks ago, this kind of response seems like it's more to set up the
Hey, you know who this is?
cliche rather than anything approaching reality.
You haven't aged a day.
It was 5 years, not 50. Unless she was 7, expecting someone to have aged visibly in 5 years is just silly. And if it's just some lame attempt at blip humor, well, I'm sending your delivery. Getting stuck with the nickname Photon.
It also says observation and response on that door, not creation.
The world's not the same as you left it.
There is nothing more exciting in a superhero series than a discussion about corporate prioritization.
The FBI is in a tizzy over a missing persons case up in Jersey.
Missing persons?
I know, but they've requested use of one of our imaging drones.
But wouldn't a request like that require more information? SWART is an organization that has to deal with situations on a galactic level. Why would they be interested in helping out the FBI in this capacity with this little knowledge going in? New Jersey.
James E. Woo, FBI.
Did you see that? He did the card trick Ant-Man showed him. Man, I can't keep taking sins off for these Marvel links, so here's a sin for show taking 3 full episodes to Randall Park and Kat Dennings, I guess?
Pardon me, Sheriff. Would you mind repeating your claim about Westview to my colleague here?
No such place.
Many mysteries from the previous 3 episodes get solved over the next half hour. Still, one puzzle not pieced together is how the local law enforcement would be under Wanda's spell, but Wu and Rambo aren't. They're standing in front of the same sign the police officers are. Also, how has no one else driven into Westview before now? Maybe the town isn't on a major road, but it's still on a road that could be a shortcut for someone looking to shave off a few minutes of their commute. Did all those people get a makeover and a new identity? These reveals are exciting, but they also make one wonder if Wanda's plan isn't terrible. I think Wanda's plan might be terrible.
Why haven't you gone inside to investigate?
Because it doesn't want me to.
Oh.
Growing up, other kids had Michael Jordan posters on their walls, but I had Elliot Ness.
Where would you even find an Elliot Ness poster pre-internet? And yes, I know The Untouchables was a popular movie in the late 80s, but those would be Kevin Costner posters. Scene only contains one broke girl. Also, how many MCU movies do we have to remember to keep the names and connections of the supporting characters straight? At least the Avengers movies stuck mainly with the big guns. If you immediately recall who Darcy Lewis or Jimmy Woo is, I salute you, but I shouldn't need a cheat sheet to understand your show. SWARD Response Base? Isn't response already in the acronym? Why not just call it the SWARD Divisional Base for Observation and Response? This is truly some top-notch, terrible acronyming.
Those drones you're sending in, what kind of data are you getting?
The beginning of this episode, annihilation's so hard that if Kat Dennings doesn't eventually find some sort of nightmare bear roar screaming the word drone, I'm gonna be severely disappointed. Also, drones.
You guys look like you might get down with those little pod things. Horrendous for the environment.
Technically, this is a true statement, but K-pods are also recyclable, so this is more about laziness than environmental concern, Darcy.
I got it.
While the crew cut does seem like an asshole, you didn't actually ask for assistance.
There's no reason to suspect the perimeter doesn't extend subterraneously.
Jimmy would be fresh off the boat at TVSins.
So you're saying the universe created a sitcom starring 2 Avengers?
Show includes confused fan ramblings, frustrated at not being able to binge the whole season of WandaVision. Have some patience, you spoiled streamer babies. Wait, it's ending? I mean, I know you wanted to wink back at the mid-credit Easter egg of the first episode, but when we first see the show, they're at the start of the boss visits for dinner scene, which was a good 10 minutes before the show's credits. And considering this entire real-time conversation lasts less than 3 minutes, I think you may have fudged on the show timeline quite a bit there. Whiteboard from the Sins writing room, desperately trying to figure out how to send a mystery in real time, is somehow transported onto the show. Wait a second, have we even seen this? I don't think it's in the first 2, so does this mean there might be another episode of the Bewitched or Dick Van Dyke style shows? Are you holding out on us, D+? Release the dick cut! What? That's honestly not the worst way that could have gone.
Wanda, can you read me? Over.
This kind of works. But then in the episode, she somehow rewound out of this moment. So what happened to this guy when she did that? If real objects and people get integrated into the time period, fine. But I'm pre-sinning that we will likely never get an explanation to the paradox of the timing of all this. And if we do, then I'll be happy to take a sin back. Okay, I'll begrudgingly take a sin back. Okay, fine, I'll pretend to take a sin back and then make some snarky comment and actually add a sin instead. Happy now? Seriously, a whole staff set up to painstakingly watch episodes of television to break them down looking for meaning and minutia? Are we really supposed to believe such a place would exist?
Oh, he's perfect. Twins.
But they shouldn't know that yet. In the previous episode, Rambo delivered the one baby, and then they discovered a second one was coming after Vision came in with the doctor.
But where's Rambo?
Not answering this question was some variation of probably in a headband off brutally killing some people in a jungle somewhere in the name of justice.
And I want you to leave.
Once again, I have to ask how Wanda's powers work. At times, she can make something appear with the snap of her fingers. So why couldn't she simply make Monica disappear? Now Wanda has more unnecessary cleanup. Just snap your fingers. You've done it several times so far. Why would Wanda see this version of Vision? This would mean he's dead. And he isn't dead. He is perfectly fine and everyone will be happy, and how dare they try to make any of us believe otherwise? There hasn't been a Route 2 in New Jersey since 1942.
It's all Wanda.
Repeating your misdirection from the previous episode, hoping it will stick. Splo-going, one of the most orgasmic moments in MCU history. Splorgasming? Parts of this episode, especially those stairs and the opening credits running through the park, have super duper Full House vibes, which is honestly a dick move by Elizabeth here. It wasn't enough she had to usurp her twin sister's fame. She has to own the only thing they had left.
If you go to sleep, I promise you will be my favorite twin.
Sibling favoritism. Whether joking or not, this can really f up a kid's identity. I mean, probably not more than skipping entire developmental stages, but still.
Keep it down, Raz. I was about to get my leg over.
Getting my leg over. Also, Horny Viz continues to be horny. And look, we're totally sex positive around here, but I'm also 100% sex positive. You should probably put the infants down first.
Look, I think it's working.
Expecting a baby to suck on a binky coated in synthetic earwax.
Agnes, I was just fluffing this pillow with my face.
Seriously, Viz, enough with the sexual euphemisms.
Do you want me to take that again?
Breaking character. You're better than that, Catherine. Honestly, I can't believe they left that in.
Fussy babies meet buns of steel. We dare you to stay away.
For the life of me, I can't think of a way her buns of steel will play into quieting these babies that isn't making me extremely uncomfortable.
Lavender. Supposed to have a calming effect.
Spraying anything onto an infant without researching first to be sure that the supposed to is an absolutely will. Looking at the fruit bowls here, I'm reminded of how often fruit goes bad in my house. And before you head to the comments to complain about that not being a sin on this show, it absolutely is. Look at all those apples. Vision and Wanda are the only apple-eating assholes in this house. Anything over 5 is just over-fruiting. The more you look at this picture, the more it seems like her head was photoshopped onto the wrong part of someone else's body. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. I mean, it's probably a real picture, but weren't there better pictures to choose? Baby Vision. I'm only human, guys. But also, this is giving me serious enemy mine vibes, and I'm not okay with that. Oh, sure, Tommy's name has nothing, but Billy's name gets the exclamation point? This is clearly more favoritism and ultimately just creates poor family ties. This random tiger on the table, combined with Agnes bragging,
There's no taming this tiger,
is 2 Bengal references in less than 10 minutes, and this is exactly the kind of show that makes me spend 20 minutes thinking about what it means. And that's 20 minutes I could have been mining Bitcoin, damn it.
There's a briefing in 10. Pants are encouraged.
But not mandatory? What sort of operation is this? People can just freeball or go clam mando willy-nilly?
I need another blood draw. No. We're done here.
And because we aren't supposed to know about Monica's abnormalities yet, this works. Translucent privacy curtains. That used to be opaque, so you can't opaque.
It's an oversimplification of events, but yes.
What? In a TV show? You don't say.
Monica, she blasted you halfway across New Jersey.
Hyperbole.
Bring up the visual.
This entire conversation has been the typical MCU convenient self-advancing PowerPoint presentation. But suddenly somebody needs to be instructed to pull something up and they have it ready with a few clicks? Why wasn't that in the original file? Also, it's a good thing that this console self-orients so that wherever the camera is, we aren't looking at it upside down.
But that's in direct violation of Section 36B of the Sokovia Accords.
Just imagine being this guy in the background. Your only job as an extra is to stare at the back of Deputy Derpy's head and look like you're desperately trying to hold in a fart.
All right, that's it for now.
Wow, what a waste of a debrief. This reminds me of attending staff meetings where 98% of what is being covered doesn't concern you at all. Great, you informed everyone who Wanda is, why she's dangerous, and that she stole a carcass. I mean, the carcass part is new, but is it all so exciting that literally everyone had to stop their important work to listen?
You know, I don't miss the crying, but geez, Louise, did you have to learn to walk? You two never stay put.
But there are kid crafts on the fridge, so clearly they can sit still long enough to make all this, art? Oh look, the lobster penis is back, and now it has more friends. This fish looks like another penis, and I'm not even sure what this is. A dragon, maybe? Anyhow, it's clear this room goes by the 1980s 2 a duck abstract art and a heart standard of interior design.
My kitchen window told me someone got a new pooch.
Windows can't talk.
Got a hunch someone might pop over with exactly the item we require.
This talking toaster would be excellent at TVSins. Vision gets on to Wanda for being careless with her powers, but earlier we saw him dressed for family portrait day at Sears as a turkey, the Easter Bunny, and Santa, while still looking very much android. Rambo is trying to figure out how to get back into Westview via some complex thingamajig, and honestly, I'm not sure why she's concerned. Clearly, Swart has many amazing things at their disposal. They can pop up a sweet tent city at a moment's notice, and their standard issue uniforms include neat little thumb cutouts. If you can do thumb cutouts, what can't you do? This wall has turned from useful way to track information on who's in town to why is there a whole row of Wanda and Vision at the top when they're already in the center? Someone's patting their serial killer board.
She could have taken out Thanos on her own if he hadn't initiated a blitz. I mean, nobody else came close.
Well, I'd argue that Captain Marvel came close.
Reddit.
What are we looking for?
That.
You're looking for the thing that just happens to be set up on display in this room right where you need it for storytelling purposes? Cool. Checks out.
Are we being mind controlled to see that right now?
I mean, she was wearing them when she exited, so this is a question you may have wanted to ask when Rambo was found in the field, not naked.
Can I borrow this?
Whoa, 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 whoa.
This is a beyond reprehensible act by a character we're supposed to love. It needlessly puts equipment and even lives at risk for a display that has already been confirmed by a test anyway. This is both reckless and pointless, and the only sane resolution to this choice involves Monica in handcuffs and immediately removed from the case and the agency. Also, no one hears the shots that are fired, despite this being a bustling base. Nobody comes running to see what shenanigans are afoot, despite being on high alert. Honestly, this scene may be the most unbelievable part of this entire series.
So you're telling me this is a typewriter, a Rolodex, and a calendar all in one?
Don't forget that it's also a place to discover copious amounts of pornographic images. And considering Vision's apparent sexual insatiability in this series, you know that's the first place he would go.
What else can it do? Find me a wife?
Eventually, yes.
So Vision knows the future? And if so, how does he not know he's dead? I mean, mostly dead, or temporarily dead, but in no way dead forever and ever.
You have to stop her.
Stop who?
She's in my head.
Look, Marvel, we can spot pronoun gaming a mile away, and our CineSenses are all over this use of her and she. So take your sin for pronoun gaming, and for teasing us with this Wanda or Agnes conundrum when we might have to wait weeks for the answer. Also, this guy is briefly outside the Puppet Master's control, and my question is, does that mean he can see he's talking to a walking android corpse?
Something's scaring him.
Assuming you can understand a dog whimper.
Stay here.
Sparky!
Disobedience.
We can't see the drone on the broadcast. Wanda's framing it out at the shot.
Since when are the broadcasts you're watching happening in concurrent real time?
Disregard. Take the shot.
Take the shot with the missile that you have attached to a drone built in the 80s? Was the missile from the 80s too? And if so, what sort of magical mumbo jumbo had to happen for Swart to find a drone from the 80s just lying around in a nearby New Jersey warehouse? Wait, is it night outside the dome but day inside? We see earlier that it's clearly bright out, but out here it's pitch black. I get that Wanda, or whoever, could do this, but we've seen it be night on the show before, and later it's clearly night in the town behind her.
The missile was just a precaution.
This guy. Is it just me, or are these shots targeting her cleavage a bit more than her heart? Geez, even the laser sights are a bit male-gazy.
Lagos. For when you make a mess, you didn't mean to.
That slogan second only to Lagos. So strong, even overly metaphorical bloodstains don't even stand a chance.
Don't worry, he's sure to turn up. Your mom won't let him get far. Ma'am?
Unimportant unknown character has an unnecessary speaking line to set up their existence for later cliche. By the way, you can use this casual superfluous introduction theory to spot the killer in almost every single one of the over 1,000 various CSI episodes. What I'm saying is, watch out for the mailman, he's obviously the killer.
Don't age yourselves up.
Why would this be a response from the kids? What would growing up do to fix the dead dog?
You can't control me the way you do them.
Can't I?
The way Wanda in this show uses this roll credits moment to play into both the story and themes of denial and grief that are prevalent throughout this whole episode is such brilliant work that I have to give another sin off. Keep it up, Marvel, and the MTU may rival the MCU.
Wanda, who is this?
Asks the man who, despite being adamant about it the entire episode, is suddenly completely unconcerned about revealing his identity to strangers. What the f***? This masturbatory logo spewing keeps going on and on week after week. Most shows cut down their opening credits after a few episodes, but this is just the f***ing logo crawl. This kind of display is the equivalent of the Ubu dog barking at us every week for 30 full seconds. Make it stop! If you end up with this much toothpaste sauce outside your mouth, you're simply toothpasting wrong. Ah yes, I remember all those early-aught family sitcoms that had a close-up of the neighbor's ass in the opening credits.
Holy
Halloween's a magical holiday.
Halloween episodes in February.
Where's your costume, Tommy? This is my costume. I'm the cool twin.
Costume slackers.
A Dorkosaurus Rex. Not a real dinosaur.
The Dorkosaurus Rex would fit right in the middle of TVSins. Mixing your Rubik's with your Jenga. Everyone knows competitive Jengics wasn't invented until 2014.
He's your uncle. Why would I be scared? Because it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and you're secretly afraid he's a vampire.
But why would they think that Pietro's a vampire if he's able to sleep in a room full of sunshine unharmed? F***ing kids. To be fair, I'll take a fish over a toothbrush or those weird brown and orange wrapped candies.
That's not exactly how I remember it.
Except, according to your own look before cutting to it, you are the one remembering it. If this was Pietro's memory, why did we cut from your blatant memory face?
You probably suppressed a lot of the trauma.
We've already mentioned the fun Marvel winks, the Easter egg teasing, the incredible design work, and the acting that make these homages such a success. But have we talked about how incredibly they continue to layer in the themes of trauma and denial? It allows the show to maintain both surface frivolity and meaningful depth, and damn it, I'm about to give another sin back, aren't I?
And he's what you call a man-child.
Finger quoting words that don't need them. Also, licking your fingers. Ever again. Ever.
You are incorrigible, darling. I know you have a secret thing for Mexican wrestlers.
Me gusta mucho.
This sexual tension is leading somewhere, right? Like, they certainly wouldn't build this up every single episode and then not give us some sort of payoff. Wait, is the final episode an homage to Californication? Is it?
Where do you keep your water balloons?
Who asked the question this way? Wouldn't you just simply ask, where do you keep your balloons? Who stores balloons with water already in them? Pietro's tattoo looks like it says Mom, but I think it says HOM, which we all know stands for House of M, which is, of course, a reference to House of Mouse and the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. So hot dog, here's a hot diggity sin for yet more pointless Disney synergy.
And which one of you is the sassy best friend?
It's funny because it's true. I haven't seen Disney's cell phone this hard since Cars 3 ended up trying to teach a lesson about crass commercialism. God help me, I'm going to talk about the timing again because this TV shows the first portion of the episode we are currently watching, even though in the real world this meeting appears to be the same night as the drone attack. So is this episode happening now for the first time? And if so, why aren't they all watching it for clues? And if not, how are the events intersecting when it's mid-afternoon on TV and still night here? I feel like you just want the episodes playing on the random TVs as filler, but no one has given a single consideration to the process of how and when these episodes air.
All you people who left still have the luxury of optimism. You have no idea what it was like. What it took to keep the lights on.
Then maybe you should have told her all about this instead of just sending her on a mission her first day back.
Maybe it's a good thing you weren't here when your mother died. Because clearly you don't have the stomach for this job.
Here's the thing. I'm okay with Hayward turning out to be a bad guy, but this is the guy who was doing everything he could just a few episodes ago to get Rambeau out of the Wanda sitcom world and is now willing to shuck her aside so he can play war. I'm just saying a little growth of the character would have been excellent.
Why didn't anyone tell me the plan?
The better question is, how did anyone have time to tell anyone the plan? Convenient sword ponchos are convenient. Look, I know you want me to pronounce it differently, but you're not the boss of me now, and you're not so big. Life is unfair. Trick-or-treating in the daytime.
Kick-ass.
Yeah, you know, yet another Marvel movie property that has both Aaron Taylor Johnson and Evan Peters. What does it all mean?
All the candy has disappeared.
Stealing.
And now all the jack-o'-lanterns have been smashed.
Vandalism.
Now everyone's covered in silly string.
And bullying. It's the rare how to turn your characters from likable to assholes trifecta.
Sorry, Wanda, I gotta bounce.
To where exactly? At least some of that went down right where Herb is standing. This show got intensely dark. It's like they took the dread of Get Out, but took the laser-accurate social commentary about racism in America and replaced it with, sitcom superhero stuff. So, yay? I've seen plenty of creepy things in this job, but this kid's left thumbnail is flat out the most horrific thing in the history of human existence. It hurts to even look at it. Make it go away! Pretending that the face decomposes at a different rate than the rest of the body. Marquis refuses to indicate if we are Lindsay Lohaning or Haley Millsing. Also, in this universe, who even voices Frozone?
They've got full-size candy bars a few blocks up. Mom, can we go? Next stop, Cavity Town.
I mean, it's cool and all that Tommy has super speed, but he was only able to grab 2 candy bars? Lame. Aw, how cute. These kids went for Halloween as Ruth Bader Ginsburg in the current American justice system. Totes adorbs. This cul-de-sac has the most extended driveways in the history of sack bottoms. That's just poor city planning. Why even have a cul-de-sac in the first place?
No one leaves. Wanda won't even let us think about it.
But Wanda will let you think about thinking about leaving?
My way back into the hex will be here in an hour. Just gotta meet my guy over the ridge.
You know, at some point this tantric pronoun gaming could just be considered audience abuse. Just tell us it's Reed Richards so we can climax already.
Worst case scenario, Wanda removes my free will and puts me in ultra low rise jeans.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Worst case scenario.
Hayward has your blood work.
There are 1,000 different files I could be looking at right now, but I happen to be looking at your blood work on the off chance you may make a declaration about wanting to travel into the hex again.
The energy inside has rewritten your cells on a molecular level twice. It's changing you.
Like, I don't know, mutating them? Just say it, Marvel. Say it.
Hey, I'm not some stranger.
Obvious cover-up lie is obvious.
Hayward, you sneaky bastard.
Giving your secret file the designation of eyes only and then attaching your name to it. We know that this city is several miles around, but thankfully for the plot, Vision decided to emerge right by the main outpost and within short walking distance from the server farm where Darcy has been hacking unhindered all night. Are they showing Night of the Living Dead in this town square? Sure, it's a great choice because it's public domain and all, but now I have to know who's controlling this so I know why their movie choices are so on the nose. A metaphorical representation of Disney engulfing Fox somehow makes it into the show. Yeah, opening logos, blah, blah, blah. But can we talk about how in addition to this 90 seconds of previously on and logoing that we also end with over 4 minutes of credits? That's almost 6 minutes of not WandaVisioning. Now I have to do math every time I look at the runtimes on D+ and figure out if I actually do have time to squeeze an episode in before my Friday colonic. And it's hard to work that shit out sometimes. Ah yes, let's pretend that last night Wanda would expand the boundaries of her hex to save Vision, but then not actually go find him and ensure that he's alive. Setting aside that Uno isn't even a video game, it was only invented about 5 years before the Atari. Why not go with Pong controllers? That had been around in some form since the 60s. Even if you don't do video games, go with a paddle ball or marbles or regular old playing cards. I'm just saying when thinking about how many choices you had here, you certainly had more than Uno.
Mom, my head feels weird. It's like really noisy. I don't like it.
Resting her eyes.
Ignoring a clear sign that your child is in need of supernatural medical attention.
I plan on taking a quarantine-style staycation.
Sorry, Wanda, you don't get to call a pleasant break away from your kiddos a quarantine. Not in 2021, you don't. You never even put on a mask. Sure, jokes, hardy-har, but everyone else's clothes have changed, and even your hair is different. I get that someone is producing all this, but we've also been led to believe that the anomaly itself changes material things to match the era automatically, so we should clearly be in pajama territory here. Aha! Cane Cola, more clues. This is obviously a reference to Scrooge McDuck who walks with a cane. Come on, Disney, these tie-ins are getting to be a bit much. On a completely unrelated note, I wonder if Cane Cola comes in a 6-pack. Also, where's the food? There are 2 shelves here dedicated to beverages alone. Where are the leftover containers? And yes, I know Vision doesn't eat, but you had your bushels of fruit in the 80s, so at least throw some Lunchables in here. Listen, if you're going to use the box for clever metaphors like Vision starting at the edge of town at a circus and needing to get to the center of town to his wife, or calling it Sugar Snaps in reference to the Infinity Snaps, why not use all the box for cleverness? Unless, of course, repeating these nutrients 4 times in a row is a clue, which it isn't. Also, where's the riboflavin? A simple moment that is absolutely my favorite from this episode. With the milk changing from milk from 1950, I would have sent it if you didn't give it the quick smell test. But you did, and I smiled. Dang it, Elizabeth, stop being so good at this. Lying. Setting unrealistic beauty standards. My God, who wakes up looking this good? No one. Okay? No one. Hidden Mickeys.
Can I help you, creeper?
You don't remember me from last night?
Who's the real creeper here? Vision's been passed out in a field all night, and all you f***ers are just out here clowning around. What Wii game is this? And how is this interface even a 2-player game? Also, setting up your Wii without the sensor bar in place. Also, this is a terrible place for your TV. Who puts the TV in the middle of the room with 2 chairs facing away from the television? Also ×3. This is some of the worst cord management I've ever seen. Apparently this is plugged into the floor somehow, and then you just threw the mess of cords out in full view? Find a wicker basket for that, you cord jumbling chaos monsters.
Vision is made of vibranium. They literally inherited tough skin.
Assuming to understand the complexity of the genetics of your children when they were born in a fake sitcom in a fantasy universe. Agnes is in full stride here, meaning she knocked on the door and took about 6 steps back to strut on in. I'm a little impressed, but mostly annoyed.
Boys, I'll be fine. Just go
with Agnes?
Parenting. I mean, my parents once left me with a family of strangers in LA so they could attend a taping of The Price is Right, and I'm still here. And so very well adjusted. So.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Our conversations with ourselves every day of the past pandemic year somehow make it into the script. The most unbelievable thing in this email from Darcy is that in the rushed moments to get this to them, she took the time to properly punctuate each letter in the terrible SWARD acronym. I didn't even do this in this subtitle, and I had plenty of time. It's just that, as any woman can attest to, having to deal with constant periods is extremely annoying.
Did we get your specs right?
Yes, and within one day, the well-known efficiency of governmental agencies comes through again. Fool the guesser games. Yes, please tell me how old you think I am and how much you think I weigh. Can we go to the would you like to get kicked in the balls or punched in the booth next, please?
And who is that imposter Pietro?
Vision is like the third person already in this episode to plot tease us with this question, and we get it, Marvel. Another big reveal is coming. At this point, you're building it up so much I'd be disappointed if Pietro isn't revealed in the final shot as Hugh Jackman flipping the middle claw and dropping an F-bomb at a local Westview bar.
You're not supposed to talk.
Considering we never once hear the interviewers in Modern Family, the sitcom this episode is mostly based on, I think Wanda has a point here, and therefore would be excellent at TVSins.
A unique antidepressant that works to anchor you back to your reality. Or the reality of your choice.
Get it? Multiple realities? You could even call them virtual realities. It's clear now with this and the video games earlier that Wanda is going to create Nexus, which, as we all know, will be the name of a virtual reality headset where she and super horny Vision can have lots of sex. Guys, I'm getting super good at picking up on these Easter eggs.
She's gonna sail right through, unharmed.
Obvious overconfident premature celebration is premature. And obvious.
I can get through.
And I won't be needing this anymore.
So, Wanda killed me?
A full minute rehashing a moment we already saw in the movie being referenced. I didn't realize the infinity in Infinity War referred to how long Marvel would continue to refer back to it in its properties. Take a lesson from your own show, Marvel. Move on already.
Oh, man, another red light? Overkill out in the sticks here, don't you think?
Overkill, eh? Maybe a little insensitive to the guy who just learned he was killed twice? Superhero is an obvious superhero because they know how to land in a superhero pose, cliché.
All you do is lie!
But wouldn't Wanda be slightly interested in how Monica is showing up in SWARD gear that hadn't been altered on its way through the Hex? Which reminds me, why weren't her clothes transported like everything else coming through? Monica herself is a superhuman now, but are her clothes?
What am I doing here? Sitting, talking to you?
Great question. And honestly, this has been building for a while, but how does the timing of any of this make any sense? Most of this stuff has been shown to be really happening. So when was this recorded, and why does it take place in sequence with him flying out of the truck? What is happening when and why and how and where, and when does Deathstroke finally show up?
Who's been messing up everything?
It's been Agatha all along.
Nice! This show is super fun, and Catherine Hahn is a treasure, and I'm so glad she's getting to shine here. There are plenty of reasons I could remove another sin for WandaVision, but this one is for Hahn, solo.
That you haven't even noticed.
We did. Everyone did.
And I killed Sparky, too.
Bragging about dog murder. This screen, not only does it taunt me every week, it's taken me until this episode to finally realize it's not saying there will be a mid-credit scene. So this week, I'll finally turn off the show and not stick around hoping for a scene that never shows up. Can you imagine if they waited till the 7th episode to do any kind of mid-credit scene? Good thing that would never happen. This was not previously on WandaVision, it was previously on Infinity War. And I'm way too lazy to go back and check if they've actually shown this in any previous episodes, but even if they have, you're still breaking the 1978 previously on accords, set in motion when the show Alice petitioned and was denied use of an Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore clip because Scorsese didn't consider it cinema. Also, I was going to stop sitting how long these previously on segments continue to be, but then you had to go and title this entire episode Previously On, which means this is essentially 40 full minutes of Previously On, and how did you ever think you'd get away with it? In case you confused it with the famous witch trials of Salem, Oregon.
Yet you have betrayed your coven.
And we will all now take our hoods down dramatically and simultaneously for maximum creepiness.
I did not break your rules. They simply bent to my power.
The New England Patriots. Are they killing her? Taking away her powers? Giving her indigestion? You don't know, and the show isn't interested in telling you either. But those pretty blue lights sure are cool, huh? Ooh, now she's purpling their blue, and it's sucking the life out of them because purple.
Please. I can be good.
No, you cannot.
Parents. Kids.
She does look shocked to meet the real us, doesn't she?
Oh good, we're back to the current day. I was beginning to fear this episode would be a never-ending parade of flashbacks with no real story momentum. Glad that will never happen.
That's adorable. My thoughts are not available to you, Toots. They never ever were.
Then how would Wanda not know that before now? And yes, I thought about the fact that Agatha could have been supplying Wanda with false thoughts, but then I also decided that if I keep filling in the blanks for this stuff, I'm doing Marvel's job for them. And despite the rumors, they don't pay me for this.
That accent really comes and goes, doesn't it?
Considering the show has already played around with this joke, Agatha would be excellent but repetitive at TVSins.
I was so patient, waiting for you to reveal your true self.
Pretending you have great patience because you waited a few days for the next episode. I mean, new information. Netflix has ruined us all. Also, Wanda's version of patience is apparently resurrecting a dead brother and killing a dog in an attempt to force Wanda to reveal her powers.
I got close with fake Pietro, if you will.
We'll handle the lazy nicknames around here, Agatha Snarkness.
But you're so crippled by your own self-doubt that you believed it.
Look, I'm sure there are more Pietro reveals coming, but the idea that Agatha would use a completely different person to imitate Wanda's brother on the off chance that she's so distraught that she wants to believe it, it's quite the stretch. Sure, it's fun for us, but I can think of at least 5 different ways Snooper could have snooped without relying on that long shot.
And of course, there's transmutation.
Show decides to pause for a few minutes to give us Agatha's witchcraft and forced exposition masterclass.
Magic on autopilot.
Disney's corporate slogan for its film division accidentally makes it into the script.
But it's time to look at some real reruns.
In the end, Agatha was always going to have to do the Ghost of Christmas Past routine, right? So why did she wait? Agatha might enjoy getting to play in Wanda's Dick Van Dyke and Bewitched playground, but once it got to the Full House or Family Ties, I feel like Agatha should have made her move. And if you're calling Pietro a move, go back a few sins and see how we felt about that. Going with the colorized I Love Lucy set. Geez, Irina, maybe step away from the window? You've got the f***ing purge going on 2 stories down. This might be a better time to take shelter instead of immersing your world with Dick Van Dyke.
Dick Van Dyke again? Always sitcom.
Insta-sin haters. Also, what else could have been picked? Everything in the suitcase was a sitcom. Here's a sin for Disney Plus not releasing their own shows on physical media. Now how am I supposed to watch people watching DVD on DVD on DVD? Also, this episode is a straight classic, but it's not the one Wanda picked. Wanda said she wanted to watch episode 21 from the 2nd season, which is My Husband is a Check Grabber. It May Look Like a Walnut is episode 20. The TV, DVD player, both power cords, and the AV connecting cord survive this.
Where'd you get the big guns, Wanda?
Puberty.
Don't be scared. You already lived it once.
You said bored wrong. And we're focusing on an Infinity Stone again. I swear they should have just called them the Herpes Stones because this is never going away. Do we have to see Wanda watching sitcoms in every scenario from the past? The show sets that aspect up well with the suitcase full of DVDs and the TV night with World War III happening outside the Maximoff residence. Unless, of course, this hospital uses the Brady Bunch as punishment of some kind, which makes sense because that show is torture. Also, this seems like exactly the kind of room that wouldn't have anything included but a cold slab table, but would also have taken the time to integrate a color television with access to the Brady Bunch. Priorities!
Pay a ticket.
If we're accessing Wanda's memories from these scenes, then how are we seeing this? These moments would have been completely outside of Wanda's vision.
The broken pieces of you are adding up, Buttercup.
Are they though? Or are they being retrofitted? This must be that new math thing I've heard so much about. Breaking Dad.
I've never experienced loss because I've never had a loved one to lose. But what is grief, if not love persevering?
Damn it, Marvel. Just as soon as I'm ready to write off this episode as a bunch of pointless backstory, you drop this vision soup for the soul bomb on me, and I realize how perfectly this episode represents the process of therapy and growth. Therapy rules, and so does this moment.
Yes, sir. Yeah, she's still here.
Hayward can see Wanda on the screen, so why would he ask the Apple Eater at the desk if she's still there?
One moment. I have to buzz you in.
I got it. Thanks.
What is the process of buzzing someone in that you couldn't have done it in the time it took you to tell her you needed to buzz her in? Also, still a dick move by Wanda here either way. They said you could head back. It's not going to take long. You can hold a spell. I get that superheroes would have to drive their normal people Buick like a boring person from time to time, but it feels so wrong to me. It's like a werewolf holding a gun sort of wrong. Jeez, Westview, if you aren't going to take care of that pool, at least drain it. You want mosquitoes? Because this is how you get mosquitoes. I would have given all the sins back if we had one scene in the past of Vision being shown properties by a realtor. For all the pretense of this episode giving us explanations of how all this started, they really yada yada the hell out of it at the end. This outburst of powers is pure chaos and emotion. For Wanda to be able to keep up what she's doing would require a lot of control and planning. I don't see how this explains anything for Agatha that she probably didn't already know. Not giving your Blade Runner references time to register. Wait, where are we now? Did she create an actual home or create a broadcast studio? And if this is all in her mind space, then why would she be imagining a studio with Agatha in the audience seating? Why is camera?
This is chaos magic, Wanda. And that makes you the Scarlet Witch.
Dun dun dun! Oh, I'm bored. I see D+ took my note from last week and removed the please stand by screen. Thank you. Now I know for sure there won't be a mid-credits scene. Always appreciate the help, Disney.
Tried every type of power supply under the sun, when all we needed was a little energy directly from the source.
I love how simple Jay from Drop Dead Diva makes this sound. Sure, she zapped our drone, so we now know all the secrets to her energy and how to capture it and transfer it to a Vision clone. Voila! If next week's episode isn't called Double Vision, we riot.
Previously on WandaVision.
Not saying previously on the episode previously on WandaVision. Also, play that again and tell me Elizabeth Olsen herself doesn't sound like she's bored with these tediously on WandaVision segments.
Previously on WandaVision.
She throws that voiceover away like it's a gum wrapper she found in an old jacket.
These are runes, Wanda. Only the witch that casts the runes can use her magic.
Spoiling your own show by what you put in the previously on segment. This backbreaking pose.
He was gonna burn Westview to the ground just to get what he wants.
Sure, so Hayward appears to not be that great, but he may have legitimate reasons for his actions. We don't know. I like that the show leaves his villainy a bit nuanced and doesn't feel the need for him to do something truly evil and drastic like, oh, I don't know, attempted child murder.
This is chaos magic, Wanda.
See, we know that Agatha is bad because she has extensions, dark makeup, and this sock neck.
I take power from the undeserving. It's kind of my thing.
And kind of vague. What does undeserving even mean? On a scale of Super Bowl 41 Peyton Manning to Green Book, exactly how undeserving is Wanda, and why? Once you focus on Albino Vision's costume crotch floss, you really do feel bad for the undeniable chafing that must be taking place after each footfall. His poor underbits.
Is it really you?
Asks the mind reader easily capable of a quick scanneroo.
Wanda.
Why is Caucasian here pretending like he cares about Wanda at all instead of just sneaking up on her and taking her out?
And I was told you were powerful.
She is, which is why this damsel in distress setup is all the more infuriating. Deus ex ocula?
I can fix it.
Can you?
Yes, she can! Wanda Builder. Jeez, Disney, you don't even own that property. There's nothing sacred. Like pretty much every villain before him, Robo Blanco just saunters out of a fire after hanging out there for a while and waiting for the conversation to end before attacking. You could almost make an excuse for humans who may want to showboat, but he's a computer with a directive, dang it. It wouldn't be a Marvel property without same fighting same in the finale, complete with quick cuts in CG. And with Wanda and Agatha later, it happens twice. Here I thought this show might escape those tropes, but nope, Proverbs 26:11 comes through again. And no, I'm not going to look it up for you. And yes, it does include a puke reference, because the Bible is hardcore like that.
You must be destroyed.
And so we watch Vision have his forehead bling yanked out again. Hey, good thinking, Viz. Now why didn't you do that last time?
Hey, it's my favorite member of the Bureau.
Who I had brought here to mission control instead of locked in a room for some reason. No one sees this, including the security detail standing directly behind him. Are we sure Sward doesn't stand for some worthless, oblivious random dudes?
You could be a part of that victory, Jimmy. If only you had a little more vision.
I'll be the one to handle the terrible name-based puns around here. I'm betting he didn't put much thought at all into that one, and that's worth a Holson. I said they were terrible. When in doubt, just break the fence for that perfect shot. No need to make it look like the fence has flaws in other places. Nope, just make your hero face hole and call it a day.
Did you know there's an entire chapter devoted to you in the Darkhold?
Agatha slacks off on enunciating the D, and for a second I thought the Book of the Damned was called The Dark Hole, which, if it hadn't already been the name of my high school hyperpop band, might have actually been better. Oh good, I'm not the only person that keeps an 8.5 by 11 headshot of myself in my man cave. I was teased relentlessly by my dude bros, but honestly, you never know when you need one.
You're Ralph Boner?
Boner.
No. 1,000 times no. First, if your name is Boner, you've heard this joke a million times and are not going to Beavis your response to your own name. Second, why does Ralph only have super speed in that necklace? If she was using him anyway, why didn't she give him other powers like super strength or even a smidgen of intelligence? Why not fully use the power of boners to your advantage, Agatha? And finally, the fact that you look exactly like Pietro from another movie, that was all a coincidence? I'm the fan, and you must submit to all my theories on the multiverse and mutants, and I wrote a whole thesis already, and how dare you act like this is your story to tell when my mind was already made up?
My husband's on a business trip. Tell him I love him.
This brings up a good point. How are there not hundreds of loved ones outside this town that haven't been able to reach their children, spouses, parents, college buddies, etc.? Wouldn't those people have contacted the authorities?
Your grief is poisoning us.
Why trust your metaphor when you can just have your characters explicitly spell it out? Anyone else worried about Mr. Hart? He never shows up again after the first episode, and now I'm wondering if he tried to eat steak again when Vision wasn't around to do a metaphysical tracheotomy.
If you won't let us go, just let us die. Please.
I will.
Wait, what?
I will let you go. I will.
Oh, I thought this was actually about to get fresh and interesting again. Head laser, head laser, head laser, head laser, head laser. Excitement.
You tied your family to this twisted world, and now one can't exist without the other.
Thanks for breaking this emotional moment up by having a character explicitly lay out what we already know. Why won't you trust me, Marvel? I've been watching the whole time. Look, I don't mind a bit of an homage, but this is so The Incredibles, they should have to pay whatever company owns Pixar some royalties for this. Not to beat a dead Vision here, but how does any of this fight make any sense? If they can phase through each other, why do any of their punches land ever? Why do super powerful beings always end up punching each other?
Why are you doing this? My programming directive is to destroy the Vision.
But my script directive is to pause for philosophical conversations occasionally as well.
I request elaboration.
Every f***ing fan's response after the end of this f***ing episode somehow makes it into the f***ing script. Aw yes, here's a wholesome MCU moment where a man decides to straight up murder some children. It's okay though, because we get to see Monica's sweet powers, so nobody really cares too much, but this is still an absolute sin. Also, that's right, Monica's entire storyline about getting her powers boils down to absorbing a few bullets that the kids could have taken care of themselves anyway. If you look up anticlimactic in the dictionary, it just says, we were going to put a picture of Monica Rambeau here, but we were too bored.
Have fun in prison.
Ladies and gentlemen, the entirety of Darcy's finale story arc.
You are familiar with the thought experiment, the ship of Theseus in the field of identity metaphysics?
No, but I am familiar with the philosophical bullshit of plot Theseus in the field of convenient and underwhelming story resolutions.
That was easy.
I am Vision.
And so, Vizbino flies out of the Hex without becoming damaged from the cell restructuring properties of said Hex, and then finds a simple place to destroy himself as that is his directive. Speaking of directives, Vision also said he was going to destroy Wanda. Has that somehow changed now that he saw her in some memories? Memories which revealed that she had once murdered him?
You see, the difference between you and me is that you did this on purpose.
How does Wanda know anything about this moment in Agatha's past? Did she watch that last episode too?
You are the Scarlet Witch.
I suppose now that we're seeing a long ago memory from Agatha's past turn into a zombie prophecy, we should all jump right in and believe whatever they say. I love you, so I hurt you. This rune reveal is clever, I guess? Except how and when did Wanda do this? How did she know how? Why did she play possum and pretend to be drained of her power? How did Agatha suck all the power in if she had no magic? How is she even flying with no magic? Once Wanda had the runes up there, why not just lock her down instead of letting her enemy and her own family think she was being destroyed first? And if she wasn't faking, how did she get her powers back? Even if you think you have answers to some of these questions, this scene is hella confusing. Honestly, nothing makes any sense now that the show has been completely ruined. And red beats purple because reasons, and I'm happy, I think.
Oh God. You don't know what you've done.
Nope. It's almost like someone should have told her all about the pros and cons of coming into her power before provoking her to come into her power. But then where would we be for all the upcoming MCU content, eh? What? I assumed Agatha had been fighting barefoot this entire time. You know, considering she Wizard of Oz'd her battle boots back by the car.
I'll give you the role you chose. The nosy neighbor.
For how long? And on what show? Is Westview not going back to normal? What even is this punishment?
Should we head home?
Nope, because you can't go home until it's dark outside. It's far more dramatic that way. Ah, yes, there we go. Instant evening.
Your mother and I, very proud of you both.
Very proud.
And now we're going to release you to the existential nothingness, even though we could probably simply leave the bubble intact over just our house. Enjoy annihilation. Toodles! It's somewhat believable that the very logical Vision would embrace his impending death with a sort of casual whelp, but the kids? We're to believe they hunker down in bed after a mad rush of superpower adrenaline all day. Mom and Dad are like, well, we love you, good night, and the boys just close their eyes and ask zero questions about the collapsing glowing wall or why they were being disintegrated earlier. MCU said skip.
You, Vision, are the piece of the Mind Stone that lives in me.
Oh.
Who knows what I might be next.
A plot convenience. I'm calling it.
So long, darling.
I'm not crying. You're crying. No, seriously, I'm not crying. Because despite this entire series supposedly being about grief and letting go, we end up with another Vision in the world with the memories of the real Vision, and there are never actual consequences for anything. For dramatic sake, it sure is good all these people just hung around out here instead of running to call loved ones or running away from the giant witch battle for shelter or any of a number of other things that actual humans would do in this situation. Also, fine, what Wanda did was super f***ed up, whether she meant to or not, but is anyone going to ask her for a Newtown pool before she goes?
They'll never know what you sacrificed for them.
Oh, come on. She didn't sacrifice anything for them. She created this whole thing and sunk and placed them into her fantasy, having her nightmares, and her loss had already happened before they even entered the picture. Wanda is the villain, pure and simple. You know it. I know it. I'm just wondering if Marvel will ever know it.
Given the chance and giving your power, I'd bring my mom back.
Then you've learned nothing, and none of us have learned anything, and why did we even all go through this? That's it? That's it? What about all the winks at the multiverse, the Fox Universe X-Men, the aerospace engineer, Nexus? It's one thing to have reveals that may be a bit underwhelming, but it's another thing to leave every single loose thread that you specifically dangled hanging. There are so many unconsummated teases in this show that they should have just titled the final episode Plot Blocked. Also, what about the whole TV show concept? I may have been wrong about a couple things. The created by WandaVision sin and thinking the messenger was in on it come to mind, but the vast majority of the observations still ring true. How is she controlling the episodes? Were they airing in real time? Why did she even air them in the first place? Why didn't she do a Who's the Boss episode? What was up with those commercials? Who aired those? And were those people in the town? And what about Beekeeper Guy? For the love of God, how did she rewind time? And what does that mean happened to Beekeeper Guy? So fine, take a couple sins back for the times I was wrong, but I'm adding another 10 sins for the times I was right. And here's an extra 5 just for Beekeeper Guy.
He'd like to meet with you.
Where?
The theater attic? Multitasking.
You naughty, naughty. You teasing me, you naughty, naughty.
I know the stereotype. I'm a woman, got a luscious body, provocative clothes, I'm gonna use sex to sell cars.
Oh, no, I'm not single.
Oh, I don't see a ring.
Mind your own goddamn business, Gene!
What is the purpose of this company?
I don't want to sell anything, buy anything, or process anything as a career.
Hello, Peter. What's happening?
What about seduction techniques?
This is the essence of sex.
This is taking too long. I'm gonna miss the farmer's market.
From meatloaf to cherry pie to open-faced cheese sandwiches.
Open-faced club sandwich.
Well, it's our anniversary.
Our anniversary of what?
Oh, Ron.
All of this is for the children.
For the children.
You know, for kids.
You both have severe psychological problems, and you see, I'm the nice one here.
How is anybody doing this sober?
Just one more drink! I'll cut off your tits with a knife, you bitch!
I, too, have some top secret gossip to share. I'm taking it in my butt.
I can't help but wonder if you and I haven't gotten off on the wrong foot, Dottie. And I would like to correct that if I can.
And how would you do that?
Look, Daddy, I like you. I like you.
Yes. Pop quiz, Wanda.
There's a bomb on a bus. Once the bus goes 50 miles an hour, the bomb is armed.
Phil, do these earrings make me look fat?
You just answer. It's like a reflex. Do I look fat? No. Yes, I know what you mean.
If you judge your friends for passing judgment on you, you're not only judging yourself, you're judging your friends for judging you, and that would be using bad judgment.
Honeydew. You don't get a +1 cantaloupe.
Pregnancy sucks. Making a human being is really hard. I have no control over my body or my emotions. Scare Bear, I'm sorry. All I want to do is punch you in the face. But I love you so much.
You haven't aged a day. Go f yourself.
What about you?
I've got a butthole, and it's working overtime.
Careful, Rambo.
They drew first blood, not me.
Whoa. I mean,
Whoa.
Are you?
I'm Batman.
What is it? What's wrong?
I see dead people.
Monica!
You okay?
We have to go back, Kate.
Mommy? Daddy?
Come play with us, Daddy.
Cowabunga, dude.
Dad, I've never said cowabunga in my life. Your script sucks.
What happened to him?
Found him in my azalea bushes. Don't know how many leaves he ate. I didn't find him until it was too late.
Siri, how do you perform CPR on a dog?
Halloween's a magical holiday, all about family, friends, and the thrill of getting to be someone else for a day. Wrong.
Don't you know what happens on Halloween?
You are incorrigible, darling. I know you have a secret thing for Mexican wrestlers.
Me gusta mucho.
Sometimes you wear stretchy pants in your room. It's for fun.
I smell diner success.
really? Because I smell baked crotch. Can balls fart? Because I feel like I'm smelling that too.
Right on, little dude!
Whoa! You must have been booking. How fast do you think you were going?
I am Locutus of Borg. Resistance is futile.
Only I didn't say fudge. I said the word.
They're magically delicious!
Zip, zero, zip.
Dip it good.
I actually did bite a kid once.
I know that babies taste best.
I see dead people.
There's no earthly way of knowing which direction we are going.
Bring back the balance, Ray, as I did.
In the night.
And I killed
your little dog, too.
So what I see here is a baby witch, obsessed with sitcoms and years of therapy ahead of her. You stay in this dimension too long, your body's gonna disintegrate. And I, for one, can't wait to watch. The only way forward is back.
That doesn't make sense.
You sister slip in the juice.
I watched the entire autopsy of this creature, pretty much, that the public has since come to know as the alien autopsy.
It's okay, baby. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful pair of twins. Did you nurse children?
So you want to play rough, do you? It really was no miracle. What happened was just this.
I'm crushing your head.
You're bluffing.
Mr. Son of a Bitch, let's play some cards.
Nice tricks.
I've been led to understand that tricks are exclusively for children.
To the witch, wench!
I just wanted to see you clearly.
Good luck.
And remember, don't it up.